Welcome to Syncreate, a show where we explore the intersections between creativity, psychology, and spirituality. We believe everyone has the capacity to create. Our goal is to demystify the process and expand the boundaries of what it means to be creative. We talk with visionaries and change makers and everyday creatives working in a wide range of fields and mediums, from the arts to science, technology, and business. We aim to illuminate the creative process from imagination to innovation and everything in between. I'm Melinda Rothouse, and I help individuals and organizations bring their dreams and visions to life.
I'm Charlotte Gillick, and I'm a writer, educator, and writing coach. We are the co-authors of a book on the creative process, also called Syncreate. At Syncreate, we're here to support your creative endeavors. If you have an idea for a project or a new venture and you're not sure how to get it off the ground, find us at syncreate.org. Our book, also called Syncreate, walks you through the stages of the creative process so you can take action on your creative goals. We offer resources, creative process tools, and coaching to help you bring your work to the world.
Wonderful.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. We are joyfully gathered in the spirit of creativity to discuss some ideas and hopefully empower our listeners to come to the creative process with more specific and precise tools as to create and to bring joy. And another thing that's really important to us is emphasizing the power of collaboration and community in the creative process so that we always feel sustained and together.
Beautiful.
Today, we're going to talk about creativity in challenging times. And we might feel like this is, how would I want to say this? So needed right now.
Yes.
How do,
Yes.
how do we continue with our creative work when it feels like maybe the world is a little bit on fire in a variety of ways? And so that's what we want to talk about today.
Yes, it's so important. Like, I know, so many people that just feel scared about the state of the world, or, a little paralyzed in their process, or can I even do anything that makes a difference? And we're here to say, yes, you can.
And it does make a difference. And I think so for me, one of the things that's really interesting about the creative process is the element of faith that is needed, and faith that I can do this thing that I've never done before, faith that find other people who will say yes to my ideas, and faith that it matters. And I think we want to really help folks ground their creative process, and that it matters on so many levels, whether you engage in your creativity or not.
Yes.
Once I was the director of a writing conference, and we had an advisory board, and Ronnie Gilbert, and she was one of the weavers, so part of the soundtrack to some of the civil rights movement, part of the soundtrack. And she said, always remember, Charlotte, that you can move towards social justice with joy.
Yes. Yes. And when we were kind of talking about leading up to this episode, also the quote from Ruth Ginsburg, speak your mind, even if your voice shakes, right?
And I think that there might be some voice shaking right now.
Yes.
I think in addition to faith, there's also this element of being denied the very things that sustain us. And I kind of feel like if we don't pursue our creativity in challenging time, it's almost like they win, whoever they are. The folks who want to keep us disempowered from expressing our lived truths and our lived experiences. And when we don't create in a way, it allows them to broaden their own voice and deepen their impact.
Yes.
So keeping that light inside of us alive is really key, I think, to surviving and thriving in a way that may not seem like we're thriving.
Yeah. Yeah. And, on that note, creativity is important just for its own sake. It can bring joy. It can bring levity and fun, that playfulness, rather than always being in a state of rage or despair, so it's important to kind of keep that balance, right? And you just shared with me this amazing quote about the power of creativity. Will you share that with us?
Well, and I don't know where it comes from, but I just saw it. In 45 minutes of creative activity significantly lessens stress in the body, regardless of artistic experience or talent. So I need to do a little more research to find out where that came from. But to your point, Melinda, that it's good for us to be creative.
Yes, and so many of us, maybe when we were kids, we, had these vivid imaginations and we would play and draw and paint and do all these things without any sense of judgment of like, is this good or bad? It's just you do it. And I think the older we get and the more we get kind of settled in our lives and our professions and whatever it might be, the less we allow ourselves that time for play and creativity.
And I think it's part of the like restoration work that many of us need
Yes.
to do. And that, as you said, creativity for creativity's sake and what it means on a somatic embodied level to just be with ourselves, drawing, painting, dancing, singing, whatever the medium might be, that we are connecting to ourselves in a really profound way. And so for some people, that manifests in a like a lot of seriousness. For other people, it's joyful. Um, but that connection to ourself and letting ourselves be in a state of play is radical.
Yes, it is radical in some sense in this world where, we're taught we have to be constantly productive, right? And I love that you're talking about connection because it also connects us to other people, right? That sense of creativity that we're not alone, we can collaborate with others. We can, even if we're not necessarily collaborating on a specific project, we can get together with others and create together, right? There's all kind of meetup groups or, activity groups around creativity that we can also kind of use as a way to connect and build community.
That makes me think about, like, the radical ways that people used, quilting to organize and
Yeah.
plan, um, uh, how to protect a person who was in a bad relationship, how to share information, how to escape slavery, like, the creative, um, connections were also places of incredible activism, and so maybe it's like when we are creative by ourselves, we're, keeping our activism alive,
Yes.
and then when we come to other people, it gets to, how's that word you say? Exponentially, grow.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So, what's our creativity pro tip for today?
We are encouraging folks, to inventory your joy. Take a few minutes to either walk and talk into your phone or walk and reflect or write down or like, am I allowing myself to have joy? And could creativity be a part of that practice? To laugh, even when it feels like the world is crumbling, it's an important element of mental health. So we encourage folks to take a little inventory of where you are letting yourself have some breathing room, some restoration, some opportunities to express yourself, just so that you connect with yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's so important even to maybe build it into our schedule, right? I was presenting at a little conference this weekend. There was another speaker talking about calendar triage, which I thought was such a great concept. It's like where can we find little spaces even in our busy schedules to like block out time for things like mindfulness or creativity or simply doing nothing, which is a hard one for me. I know I kind of have this underlying feeling like if I'm not working on something, I feel this sense of unease and I can unplug when I go away. Like, I think that's part of the reason I love to travel, right? It's like when I'm away, I have a much easier time. But when I'm at home in my normal environment, I always feel like I should be doing something. So, really taking that intentional time for creativity. So important.
Find and connect with us on YouTube and social media under Syncreate, and we're now on Patreon as well. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave us a review.
And we're recording today at Record ATX Studios in Austin, with Charlotte joining in from the Hudson Valley. The podcast is produced in collaboration with Mike Osborne at 14th Street Studios. Thanks so much for being with us, and see you next time.